today we are here with William Gardner and Saana Azzam, and we're going to be talking about MENA speakers, public speaking, and all things that make you sound cool.
Yes, and we had to have you do that because I could not pronounce the word MENA speakers.
Oh, you got it now.
Yeah. We tried 4 times to get this right. I could say, I have been saying MENA so long and had so many meetings where I was like, the MENA region, and I never knew I was saying it wrong. So thank you for helping me introduce the show.
Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about MENA speakers.
Yes.
And all the project that you're doing. Maybe just jump right into what you're doing.
I run different businesses. The main one is MENA Speakers, and we're a public speaking bureau. We represent over 200 speakers, experts, and then we send all these great speakers to conferences, events, exhibitions in the Middle East and around the world. And now we're going digital as well. So we're creating a platform that welcomes all types of expert speakers, super confident people to join us and kind of volunteer that they're willing and prepared to speak on stage if a client wants them to be there.
Yeah.
And it's called Know Who Market.
Know Who Market.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, so it comes from the fact that our clients call us and they ask, hey, do you know who can speak about?
Ah, nice.
And we're like, yeah, we know who.
yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of doing both, right? Like you're recruiting the speakers and finding them, and then you're kind of bringing the clients, and you kind of bridge that gap, basically.
Totally. So what we have found is that clients can ask for all types of expert speakers. And sometimes it's about just finding that authentic story from a mother that wants to share her, pregnancy experience.
Yeah.
Or it can be a retired former CEO that wants to share his experience as well. So it's really catering to what the market needs. And we know that authentic stories, they really excel. And we want to give everyone a chance to participate and be part of sharing their narrative and empowering the world.
Yeah. And you also help and provide some classes for speakers too, right? It's not just the actual speaking itself. There's a whole ecosystem around the business itself.
Absolutely. So what we found is that this is a relatively new industry for the region. So coming from the West, I'm raised out in Europe, and I've been a speaker, international speaker myself. And then coming to the Middle East, I noticed that it's just at its infancy stage. So there are not as many speakers as you would find in the US or in Europe.
Yeah.
And then you'd find a lot of experts, but they're missing, for example, a personal branding element. They're missing a good craftsmanship around their pitch, their narrative. So what we're doing is we're essentially grooming people. We're training them so that they're able to deliver their content and that they're able to position themselves as an expert in their field.
Yeah, nice. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you were saying that it's not just UAE, like you're bringing people from outside all around the world for the UAE. It's not just local as well, right?
Yeah. We operate on 2 sides. So one is, in year 2 of having this business, we were able to send people out internationally. So we've had speakers, local speakers, sent to Norway, Portugal, Sri Lanka, awesome. North Africa. So that was incredible. And then the other way around, because we're such specialists in this field, if a client comes and asks us for, who's your idol? If you give me like somebody you think is super cool, who's any name?
Gary Vee.
Wonderful. So we're in touch with his office.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we're in communication, and I know his rates and what his protocol is to bring him into this country or to an event around in the Middle East.
Wow.
We've brought in some really great A-listers and great speakers to Dubai. The latest engagement we had was with Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke, so Dr. Ben Bernanke, and we brought him in for quite a huge gig in Dubai at Burj Al Arab. It was just wonderful. And we know what protocol requirements are there for an A-list speaker like that.
Yeah. When people come to you, is it specific usually, like they have a specific event and they're like, I want an entrepreneur that talks about this subject? Is that kind of how it works usually?
Yeah, that's how it starts off, and then we go into probing them. What is it you want to achieve? So we go into a consultative role. Sometimes you might end up with a client that starts saying, they say that they want a speaker that talks about a certain topic, but their outcome and their end game is actually quite different. So we will support our clients in telling them, well, this is what we recommend because this will have a higher ROI, this will lead to higher engagement, or this aligns slightly better with the rest of your itinerary, for example.
Yeah.
So they come with a high-level description or a very specific, I want William Gardner to talk about marketing.
And we need you to book him. So far, I don't think you've got any of those requests, but we're fine. Slowly, we'll get there.
So that's kind of how it works.
Yeah. And then for speakers that want to join, is it people that already have a following? Or like, how do you find them? Or are they finding you or vice versa?
So a lot of them tend to find us. On average, I would get 5 calls of prospective speakers that want us to represent them. And we're really strict when it comes to MENA speakers because we have you need to be at parity with international speakers. So we give the feedback and then we hope for the prospective speaker to come back and have set up their content, their personal branding, their public speaking skills need to be at par with international speakers as well.
Yeah.
So all the elements really need to be in place in order for a client to pay for you to share the knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think like creating Instagram stories and making videos is completely different than standing in front of a room and telling that same 1 to 5 minute content on stage. It's probably totally different for someone, I'm assuming. Obviously, I know.
You know you're a great speaker. You know you're a great speaker.
Actually, I do get nervous in front of people, like the first 30 seconds, you know, but then I break through and I get going. But I'm better if people ask me questions versus just speaking. You know, when there's a back and forth, I get some energy going, I get some flow, I get some confidence. Maybe I'm a better counter puncher, you know? I don't know.
I mean, I see you speak. So you're nice and pleasant to listen to. You're very communicative and articulate. So that's great. What you can do in order to combat these nerves right in the beginning, because you're getting a lot of cortisol, you're entering a peak performance situation. Yeah. You're going up on stage and you're having hundreds of people or however many are listening to you. So you're the leader in that room when you're up on stage. It makes sense that you're going to be a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
And it's a very normal reaction. We want a bit of nerves because we want to peak perform and make sure that we're really good on stage. Yeah. But we don't want it to tip over. So what you can do is we need to get oxygen into your body to pull down the cortisol, the stress hormones, right? And the way for you to do that would be, for example, by laughing.
Yeah.
Like fake laughing.
Fake laughing.
Yeah.
You're just back there, ha ha ha. Just by yourself in the back, like, look at this weirdo, just laughing away.
Seriously?
He doesn't even have headphones on. He's just, who's he talking to?
Yeah. Or you can yawn. Like fake yawn. So, to get as much oxygen as possible into your body, it will make you more resourceful. Calm down your nerves. And there are a lot of other techniques like that you can utilize in order to make sure that when you're up on stage, you're peak performing, you're getting the exact outcomes that you want, and you're in control of your speech.
Yeah. And you have a background in this because you kind of went around it in a roundabout way. You started out as a public speaker, then you came to the UAE, you took like a normal job, and then you're like, no, I'm going to go back to what I really want to do. Like, talk about that, like your journey to this point.
Wonderful. Yeah, you're right. So in 2010, I won an award, which was an awesome award. It was called Female Economist of the Year. And it put me on the map. So I had both Swedish and American CEOs, industry leaders sitting and interviewing me. Yeah. So it even reached a point where we did this like social EQ test. They put me in a room with 50 CEOs from US and Sweden, and then they were testing me on my social competence. How pleasant is it to communicate with me? And then they looked at my grades and my thesis and all of that. So after a lot of interviews, won the award, and then got a lot of publicity in Sweden at that point in time. And then I get that call.
Yeah.
So the call is, hey, we read about you. Do you want to attend this conference as a speaker? And this was a couple of years ago. I was still a student. So I'm going, yeah, sure. What do you want me to talk about? They're like, oh, you just come up with a topic and then it'll be great. So I spent about a week just researching different things. I ended up talking about what high performers, what talents want. Yeah. Went upstairs and or on stage and shared that insight. Said, this is what my friends and I from our university, which is a top university in Sweden, this is what we're looking for with an employer. Did that, stepped off stage, somebody else comes up to me. I'm like, hey, what's going on? They're like, well, we really liked your speech. Do you want to come and do it again at our company? We're going to pay you for it. I'm like, excuse me? You're gonna pay me to speak?
Yeah, that's so cool.
So that's how it all started. And all of a sudden I was touring Northern Europe. So I was like in UK, Denmark, Norway, obviously around Sweden, talking about different topics around talent retention, business, leadership, things like that. Did the whole circuit, but then came back to utilizing my skill set of being an economist. So started working within banking and worked for a gold house here in the UAE. But found a gap on the market. And the gap was that there was no real business house speaker agency in the whole region. Yeah. And I went, hold up, this is an opportunity. So grabbed that and then just ran with it. And it's 2.5 years later.
It's kind of a unique story because a lot of people don't start out with paid speaking, right? A lot of people start out just talking and doing speeches, but they're not getting paid right away. Yeah. It seems like you kind of leapfrogged that and went straight into the paid part.
Yeah. Well, the industry in Northern Europe is older. You know, they have a tradition of paying for knowledge. And they recognize that if somebody spent a lifetime or, you know, they've brushed up their skills, they've worked on their marketing, worked on their content, that's valuable time. And that energy exchange needs to be there.
Yeah, it really is an energy exchange. A lot of people don't get that.
No.
They don't understand the value of it.
Yeah. I mean, imagine, and I'm sure we've all attended a conference where the speaker is just not so great.
Yeah.
Or when the MC or the moderator is not so great either. I feel like it's disrespecting the audience and their time. If we're going to be up on stage, I want to make sure that you're getting as much value as possible. Yeah. So that means any of our speakers, they will have worked on their content, their delivery, their frameworks. We know exactly what's happening in that full life cycle of that speech. Yeah. To maximize the opportunity for the audience that's giving us their time, we want to give them the knowledge.
Yeah. No, it sounds like you kind of have a vetting process as well to make sure that the client gets what they are deserving or what they expect at the end of the day.
Yeah. So when a client is paying for it, and I always think it's great to have an energy exchange when it comes to any services that you're utilizing or products or buying, whatever, because you can set expectations. All of a sudden it becomes very serious. There's no space to, self-promote too much or to push out products too much. You're there to really create value for everyone because there's been a fair energy exchange. Yeah. So it levels out the playing field. Yeah. So this is why we kind of always push our clients to respect that the speakers have spent a lifetime, a full career in mastering the topic that they're going to be sharing and the delivery of it, and they've invested money in kind of conveying this information. So we need to, there needs to be a give and take.
Yeah, and it seems like it's also created other opportunities for you as well. You're part of a new project, the Startup School, and you're kind of venturing out into a lot of different stuff where you're mentoring people. Talk more about that project as well.
Very much so. So we are incredibly blessed, both you and I, and the people that I work with, and having successful startups and businesses running. So it's time for us, in the spirit of Year of Zayed, and in the spirit of giving back, to give back to the community. So we set up Startup School, which is dedicated to any aspiring entrepreneurs that would like to have help in their idea and their business plan and would need mentorship. So essentially what we're doing is we're welcoming everybody that wants to join for free. And what we're doing is we're giving you full access to our network, our database, and we make sure that we rise together.
Yeah, and I think in Dubai, the network is underrated. Like, to get ahead, you need a network in Dubai. You need to be able to network because I think it's needed, right? I mean, this is one market where your network is your net worth here, definitely.
I think that applies universally.
Yeah, I feel like here it's more. I don't know. I mean, like maybe because in the U.S. I knew people naturally, so I didn't think about it. Yeah. But here I'm having to create that network. Where in the U.S. I just have it. I don't have to think about it. Yeah. But a lot of people are not from here. They're showing up. They're trying to start something that they don't know where to get anything done.
That's fair. And we find that when a business is setting up, there is a rite of passage. There are all these elements that need to be in place. Your legal element, your accounting, your marketing, your sales, your structures, your marketing collateral, all of that just really needs to be in place. No matter if you're selling water or if you're selling a service, that just needs to be set up.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're just accelerating that process for you. We're saying, we know what you need here. Here are the contacts. Here are the best people to do it with.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
yeah, it's wonderful. It's very rewarding.
Yeah. Not to jump back, but let's talk more about just kind of your upbringing, because you had told me you're originally from Sweden.
Yeah.
But you kind of have a unique journey to Sweden. Maybe you want to talk about that?
Sure. So I was born literally in transit. My parents are Palestinian. We were based out of Lebanon, and then we had to leave Lebanon quite abruptly. Got word that Sweden or Germany is the place to be, so we kind of had to leave. I was born literally in transit between the two countries. So I came out in Germany. Yeah. Hey guys.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up the language because we were only there 3 months. I was kind of busy with other priorities at that time. And then we moved to Sweden and found that getting citizenship and established, integrated into society was easier. Yeah, we were incredibly well received in Sweden.
And do you think probably you're too young to feel it. I don't know, I can't speak for you, but do you feel like it helped? Because you seem to be like a very strong-willed person who just from the stories we've shared, you just kind of make things happen. You just kind of jump into them. Do you think that's played a role, or do you think it really doesn't have an effect and it's just your personality to be this way?
I think I have been blessed with a tough start.
Yeah.
When you're born in transit, you're born into a new country, you don't speak the language. My parents didn't speak the language, didn't understand a word, have to start from scratch.
Yeah.
No place to live, nothing, so literally from zero. I think you build a lot of resilience. And you become incredibly resourceful.
Yeah.
So that's something that is kind of coded within us. Like, you make ends meet, you figure stuff out, you make the most out of every opportunity.
Yeah.
That's been a huge contributor. But I also think that being Palestinian, I think this is a bit of a Palestinian trait.
Yeah.
I find that Palestinian women in particular, they, when men were at war, they had to take care of their own children. And then if something happened to the neighbor's children, they would take them in. So they have this characteristic of being incredibly resilient and resourceful.
Yeah.
So I definitely think my mother kind of gave me that skill set, because you don't know if your husband's coming back or not. So you make sure that you figure stuff out by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, no, wow, it's amazing. Because I can't compare it, but I think I had early childhood issues, and I think that sometimes when it happens to you younger, you kind of develop a natural understanding that times are tough, but they do get better, and you just kind of go through that cycle so often that as you get older, you understand the cycle of it, and you don't let it get you down as much as maybe someone who didn't grow up with a rough upbringing, and then they become 18 and suddenly life's hard. Yeah. You're like, wait a minute, I didn't know it was going to be this tough, and it's like, no, that's life. But there's like an ebb and a flow to where life is always difficult, and then it gets better, and then it's difficult, and it gets better, and after a while you just get used to that. That's when I met you and you started telling me your story, I felt like you had that natural understanding, it seemed like. Yeah,
and it's also not kind of becoming a victim of any sort. You're just like, okay, this happened, boo-hoo, let's get on with it.
Yeah.
Let's just find a solution. Yalla.
Yeah.
So not making such a big deal out of it, because we've lived, we've lived. You were telling me that you started working really early on.
Yeah.
And I started working really early on as well. We had a supermarket, and I was working with my parents as a really young kid, and just kind of figuring out, basic cash buying and selling. Exchange.
It's small, but it's so important to just have that exposure very young. Where I know a lot of people that I grew up with, they just didn't have that, and then they turned 18 and they had to get their first job, and I was like, I had a 10-year career,
Yeah.
By the time I was 20, I had put 10 years in and working, you know what I mean?
I was like 10 in calculating yields, okay?
Yeah.
So I say this to anybody that wants to become a professionally recognized authority in their field, a paid public speaker. So
that's
not just
that's big. It's a different.
It is
a sentence.
It is. So we need to divide it. One is the product, and then one is the CEO. And many times it happens to be the same person, but you still need to have that business hat. and the CEO happens to be selling a product which happens to be you
Yeah.
and your knowledge, right? But you need to be working on both sides. So the product and the speaker needs to upskill, make sure that their public speaking skills, their content, their delivery style, their branding, like all of that needs to be on point. So you keep doing the product development. The CEO needs to be out there prospecting, business development, running the P&L, managing the expenses, the whole shebang. So if you're carrying these two hats as a mindset to begin with, and if your CEO isn't doing a good job, you fire your CEO.
Yeah.
You get somebody else and get serious about it.
Yeah.
That's the starting point. And the amount of money that you can make, people that are doing this professionally, they're making a lot of money.
Yeah.
And the opportunity is huge, but you need to be treating it as a proper business. You know, really good speakers in this region or even internationally, they can be making $10,000, $15,000 an hour or less on stage.
Wow.
So imagine doing 2-3 gigs in a month. You're in a pretty good space.
Yeah.
But these people would have then invested quite a lot of time on their content, on their speech delivery, so communication skills, and then really important is the personal branding, the marketing. We need to have a professional headshot. We need to have a great bio. We need to have a great show reel, a video of you speaking on stage, sharing your content. How else is somebody going to pay for you to go and share that knowledge? They don't know what sort of
They don't know what you're going to say when you're going to get up there.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's what,
so
until you have that consistently to show,
yeah,
you got to put that forward and have that to present day one.
Correct. So when you want a third party, an agency like ours or any other of the global agencies to represent you, we need to have the right ammunition, essentially. We need to have the right, help me out here.
Yeah.
We need to have the right content in order for us to go to a client and say, this guy's a great speaker.
Yeah, you have to create the package to show.
Yeah. So we need the testimonials, we need the videos, we need the referral, like the clients that you've worked with earlier on. All of that needs to be in place. If it's missing, they're not going to book you.
Yeah.
And it's really as simple as that. We can tell somebody that, this is a great speaker, but if there's no evidence of it, it's not really going to happen.
Yeah. Like, no, I met him. He's a really cool guy.
Yeah.
I promise you, he's going to deliver. He's going to say really cool stuff.
Right. They're like, no.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've thought about it definitely personally, and I just wondered where you start, It sounds like you might have to do some gigs in the beginning just for free, just to get the content, to get the videos, and not necessarily start with paid.
That's a really clever way of starting off your career.
Yeah.
Test your own skill set as well. Public speaking is an art. And I don't think this isn't something that you just read off a book and then all of a sudden you're a public speaker.
Yeah.
You need those hours on stage to experiment as well with your own style, find your voice, find your the type of body language that suits you.
Yeah.
And it will click. It just takes time, practice, and we've seen people kind of go from beginner to really great successful public speakers globally within less than 2 years. It's definitely possible.
Wow. So how would people find you if they want to? Instagram, website, give them your handles. How can they find you?
So this great t-shirt you're wearing.
Yes, thank you. I rocked the shirt for
You are. Yeah, so MENA-speakers.com, or you can reach out to me personally on any of my socials. So Saana Azzam. Instagram is a great tool.
DM.
Yeah, so please DM me. I always answer all the messages, or LinkedIn. That's most welcomed. And then you can ask me any questions that you have.
All right, well, thank you for the 18th episode of the Window to Dubai. I appreciate you being on.
Thank you. It's great.
Thank you.
It's fun.